Hello, I am Jamilah Thompkins-Bigelow. I am the author of Your Name is a Song, illustrated by Luisa Uribe. I am so honored that Your Name is a Song has won the Irma Black Award honor. Thank you so much for recognizing this book in this way. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my process for writing the book, how I came up with the idea, how I worked on it, and then the lessons that I learned along the way as I did that. And hopefully if there are any young writers who are watching, then you'll also get some tips as to some things you could do to write your own stories and to see it from idea to the very end, the published book. So the first thing is I want to tell you a story about how I got the idea. So I got the idea while I was a teacher, and I was an English teacher, a high school English teacher, back in 2016 when I got this idea. And I got it because I was working in a classroom with a student, and this student had a name that everyone mispronounced. Everyone except me. I did my best to learn his name and to pronounce his name correctly, but everyone else in the school called him a nickname or something because they couldn't say his name correctly and they didn't really want to try. So one day I was talking to this student at the end of class, and he shares with me his full name. And I remember loving his middle name, which is Olumide. Olumide is a Nigerian name, and it's just so beautiful. And I couldn't stop thinking about how much I loved it. Like I loved saying it, Olumide, Olumide. And so when I had writing time later, so I wasn't at work, I had my writing time, I remember, thinking about it and why I liked it so much. And I remember, Olumide, Olumide. Like you can sing that out. It's like a song. That name is a song. So I wrote that down, and then I remember writing down, Your Name is a Song could be a title for a really cool picture book probably. I just liked that title, but I didn't know what the book was about. I just knew that it would be called Your Name is a Song. So I started with my title first. And so that kind of gets me to my first lesson that I learned, which is that you have to cherish whatever you cherish. So if you love something, if something stands out to you, if an idea or a word, an object, an animal, a person really interests you, then take time to think about that thing that has grabbed your interest. Think about why it's so special. And then you need to have a notebook to write it down. I like to have special notebooks that make me want to write in them. So like I have this one, for example. This one I really like because there's like a woman with a hijab like mine, and she has luggage. It looks like she's going places. So this one kind of inspires me. And I have like this notebook. This is also one of my favorites because it's just so colorful. It says believe on the front. So it really gets me excited to write. And I took a notebook like this, not this one because that notebook was old, but I took a notebook like this and I wrote in it, Your Name is a Song. What is this story about? And then I basically just wrote whatever came into my head, any ideas I had. I wasn't judgy about those ideas. So sometimes we write down our ideas and then we keep erasing, right? We write it down, then erase. We write it down, then erase. And because we're like, that's stupid, that's silly, that's not a good idea. I'm going to tell you right now, that is not the way to come up with a good story. When you're brainstorming, writing all your ideas down, you need to not be judgy about them. You need to, just accept them for what they are. Because sometimes you think an idea is not very good, but when you think about it more, or when you write about it more, you realize, no, actually, this is a very clever, unique, ingenious idea. So that is what I did, as I wrote down whatever ideas came to me, and that's how I came up with the idea that I wanted a story that had lots of names listed, and there was a little girl whose name couldn't be said correctly in the story. So free writing and without being judgy. That's what it's called, free writing. You just write down your ideas as quickly as they come without judging them. That is my next tip for you if you want to be a writer as a part of the writing process. So then I started to write my story, and I was looking for my old drafts. I don't have a lot of my old notebooks, but I did have some things saved onto my computer. So I wanted to know, what did my first draft look like? Because I don't remember. It was so long ago when I wrote the first draft. So I looked for it, and the oldest draft I found was here. And I was like, huh? This was my first draft? It doesn't really look very good. Let me read it to you, and you can tell me what you think. But my teacher says my name wrong when she says it. And that's an incomplete sentence. I didn't say anything because I didn't know what to put there. So my teacher says my name wrong when she says it. Maybe it's because she doesn't know that your name is a song. It is the melody of Olumide and the beat of Abu Bakr. It's the rhythm of Oksana and the cadence of Sanjita. Sing the song of your name proudly, and your teacher will learn to sing it too. That's not too bad. When she says it, it gets caught in her throat, like it's too hard to get it out of her mouth. Maybe it's because she doesn't know that your name has to be said from the heart. Love your name with all your heart, and your teacher will love it too. So I don't know if that's maybe the mom speaking, or if I had the mom character yet. There's nobody named here. And then I have like a list of names here. And then at the end I put, but what if she never sings it? What if she never loves it? So not much of a story here. So, I mean, what if I kind of just did this? Like I said, this is not very good. And I kind of tossed it at the very beginning. Well, I would never have gotten to this book. So my next tip for you is this. Even if your story doesn't look like much in the beginning, it probably has a lot of potential to do great things, to become a wonderful story. So don't just throw out your story that isn't much. So I went through some more and more drafts. And I found this draft. Actually, I worked on this for like over a year. And I found this draft which was in late 2017. So remember, I started the book in 2016, towards the end of 2016. Late 2017, I wrote this draft, and I noticed immediately. So first of all, it's very fleshed out. You can see I definitely added a lot more pages to this story. Actually, it's a little too fleshed out is what I noticed, because there's just too many words for a picture book. So when I saw this, I knew I had to cut some things out. So I had looked back to see, well, what kind of things did I not keep? And there were a lot of things I didn't keep. I'm going to share with you something, a whole section to the story that I cut out. So this is your sneak peek to something that like no one knows about. It didn't make it into the book. I decided I'm going to cut it because it's too long, and picture books have to have a certain word count. It can't be too long because then otherwise kids will get bored and won't want to listen to the whole story. So let me just show you. I'm going to set it up for you. So in the book, as you've read, the little girl is about to go back to school. So it says here, the next day, the girl didn't want to go to school, but she had songs to teach, right? She's going back to the schoolyard to teach people her name. They didn't pronounce her name correctly the day before, and they mocked it. And then it says, line up, Ms. Anderson hollered. And then it says, the girl looked to the sky. She saw dreams and fire there. And then on the next page, Ms. Anderson is taking attendance, or she's hollering everyone's name. So we get right to that part. We skip right to that part. I actually had something that happens before Ms. Anderson does that, and I ended up cutting it out so you get to know what that is. So I'm going to read that part to you. So it actually started a little different too with her leaving to school. So it says, the next day, the girl with her head to the sky and chest puffed out stamped her own beat all the way to school. She kissed Mama goodbye and twirled into the schoolyard. That's the girl with the made up name, a big kid shouted. Some kids laughed. The girl looked to the sky. She saw fire there. And with a fiery look, she glared at the big kid and said, made up names are good. A boy walked up to her. My name's Kwasir. It's a made-up name, he said. What a great song, the girl exclaimed. So you can decide whether or not that was a really good part to include in it. I ended up taking it out, and that's my last tip for you for today, is that sometimes you have to cut out even some parts you might like from your story for the good of the story. So I knew the story needed to be a lot shorter, so I had to take out some things that I liked, so that people wouldn't lose interest in the story. Okay, so that is my process. I hope it's helpful to you. I know some people are probably saying, well, how does this get from here to here? Well, I'm not so much involved in that part, right? So when I submitted this story, it looked like this. It looked like paper. It was, just plain font typed up. And then they accepted it. And then Uribe, the illustrator, blessed it with pictures. And that's my process. Thank you again for the Irma Black Award honor. It's such a pleasure to get it. Thank you.